This week on Hometown Ghost Stories. Built more than 800 years ago as a fortified residence for the Catholic Church, Dragsholm Castle is rumored to be the most haunted castle in all of Denmark. Legends claim that more than 100 spirits linger there, including many political and ecclesiastical prisoners, as well as the ghost of a woman whose remains were discovered sealed inside the castle walls. Join us as we dive into the history and hauntings of Dragsholm Castle.
Hometown Ghost Stories contains serious and often distressing events and is not intended for all audiences. Viewer discretion is advised.
Dragsholm Castle, Denmark, circa 1540. The screams had finally stopped, or at least people pretended not to hear them. The castle lord couldn't tell and didn't really care. He did nothing wrong. That was what he kept telling himself, though the chamber's ceiling felt oppressively lower each night, pressing down on him. She dishonored you, he told himself, as if he needed to be convinced. The screams had been echoing inside the castle for days, muffled but distinct, accompanied by pounding and scratching. It seemed to take forever for them to wane, but they did, as he knew they would. I did nothing wrong, he said aloud as he lay in bed, staring blankly at the ceiling. He'd been in his chamber most of the day. In truth, he had barely left in days. He didn't like the way people looked at him. They were wrong, he thought. What was he supposed to do? She was his daughter, and she dishonored him. He tried to suppress the memories of her when she was a child, happy and optimistic, full of hope and wonder. How could she grow into someone who would defile his image, he thought to himself. It was the muffled screams and pounding that had kept him awake the last few nights, but even with them gone now, he was still unable. Perhaps it was because, despite the sound's physical absence, he still heard them. He felt like he was losing his faculties, ears ringing constantly, the pitch mimicking her screams, the beating of his heart pounding to the rhythm of her delicate fists against the cold stone castle walls. He wanted to run out of the room, but couldn't bear to face the people and their accusatory stares. He felt trapped inside his chamber, trapped inside his own head, unable to escape the pounding and the screaming that tormented his thoughts. It was as if somebody had sealed him inside the walls of his own mind, brick by brick. That was when he heard it. A giggle. It sounded like his daughter's laugh, back when she was little. He sat up in bed, confused. The room was dark except for a couple candles. He scanned the room and saw nothing at first. Then he focused on the corner of the room. Something was off. In the darkness, he could see eyes. As he focused, it began to come into sight. There, crouching in the corner, was his daughter. Not as a child, but as she was the last day he saw her. White dress now tattered, fingers and hands bloody from pounding and scratching, and she was grinning at him, wide-eyed. Then her image faded away as the pounding and screaming resumed inside of his head, and he understood then that the walls had not trapped her, they had trapped him. I'm Dave Wilkins, and this is Hometown Ghost Stories, Dragsholm Castle, Denmark. Dragsholm Castle was built around 1215 AD by Peter Sunesson, one of the most powerful church leaders in medieval Denmark. At the time, the Catholic Church controlled large areas of land and often constructed fortified residences to protect those holdings. Dragsholm was built on a small island surrounded by marshland on the Oser Peninsula, which made it difficult to attack. The earliest version of the castle was a defensive stone fortress with thick walls and towers designed to control the surrounding region. In the 1500s, the castle became involved in the Count's feud, a civil war fought over control of the country after the death of Frederick I of Denmark. Catholic forces supporting the Old Order fought against Protestant forces that backed the ironically named Christian III of Denmark. During the conflict, the castle was captured by forces loyal to the Danish noble and the general Johan Rantzau. The fighting left the castle heavily damaged. After the war, Christian III introduced the Protestant Reformation in Denmark and confiscated church property across the country. Dragsholm was taken from the Catholic Church and became property of the Danish crown. The castle was rebuilt and eventually converted into a state prison where political enemies, nobles who had fallen from favor, and religious prisoners were held. Over the following centuries, several notable inmates were confined inside the castle walls. One of the earliest prisoners sent to Dragsholm was a bishop by the name of Joachim Renaud. Before Reformation, Renaud had been one of the most powerful church officials in Denmark. When Christian III established Lutheran rule in 1536, Catholic bishops were arrested and stripped of their authority. Renaud was imprisoned at Dragsholm, where he spent years in confinement as the new Protestant government consolidated its control over the country. He was imprisoned in a cell in the tower in the center of the castle, an area designated for ecclesiastical prisoners, which has since been converted into hotel rooms. Present-day guests have reported hearing agonized moaning and wailing echoing through the halls of the second floor, the exact area where the bishop's cell was located. Another prisoner connected to the Dragsholm Castle was Danish nobleman Ejla Brockenhuus. Brockenhuus had fallen out of favor with the Danish crown during the turbulent years following the Reformation. Like many nobles who became politically inconvenient, he was imprisoned at Dragsholm, which by that point had become a place where powerful but troublesome figures could be quietly confined. Accounts say that Brockenhuus spent years locked inside the castle. Over time, the isolation reportedly took a toll on him, and he was said to have lost his sanity while in captivity. Because of this reputation, later stories began referring to him as the Mad Squire. The exact details of his imprisonment are sparse, but historical records show that his time at Dragsholm Castle was extensive. According to castle lore, Brockenhuus never truly left the place where he was confined. Some visitors have claims to hear restless movement in empty hallways, or see a figure wandering the castle corridors late at night. The stories describe a man who seems unable to leave the prison that once held him, pacing the halls as if he were still searching for a way out. One of the most famous prisoners that was held at Dragsholm Castle was James Hepburn, the 4th Earl of Bothwell, a powerful Scottish nobleman whose life became tied to one of the most controversial scandals in British royal history. Born into a prominent Scottish family in the 1530s, Hepburn inherited his title at a young age and quickly rose to influence in the court of Mary, Queen of the Scots. He served as a military commander and a trusted political ally of the Queen, but his reputation was often clouded by accusations of ambition, violence, and intrigue. In 1567, Mary's husband Henry Stuart, Lord Darnley, was found dead after an explosion destroyed the house where he was staying in Edinburgh. Suspicion quickly fell on Hepburn, who was widely believed to have been involved in the plot. Although he was formally acquitted at trial, the scandal only deepened when Hepburn soon married Mary herself. Many Scottish nobles viewed the marriage as proof that Hepburn had orchestrated Darnley's murder. A rebellion followed, forcing Mary to surrender her throne and Hepburn to flee Scotland. He attempted to escape by sea, but his ship was driven toward the coast of Norway, which at the time was under Danish rule. When he arrived there, an unexpected complication from his past resurfaced. Years earlier, Hepburn had been engaged to a Norwegian noblewoman named Anna Trons, the daughter of a prominent admiral. According to historical records, Hepburn had accepted a dowry, which is basically money and a pledge to support throughout the engagement, but he abandoned Anna and went on to marry Mary, Queen of the Scots, instead. When Hepburn appeared in Norway as a fugitive, Anna's family recognized him and brought legal action against him for breaking the engagement and keeping the dowry that had been given to him. The dispute drew the attention of Frederick II of Denmark. What began as a financial complaint quickly turned into a political opportunity. Danish authorities realized they had captured one of the most notorious fugitives in Europe. Instead of releasing him, they arrested him and kept him imprisoned in Denmark. After several years in custody, he was transferred to Dragsholm Castle, which by that time was being used as a state prison for political captives. Records indicate that the Earl of Bothwell spent roughly a decade confined there under increasingly harsh conditions. Contemporary accounts describe him being restrained with chains and suffering from a gradual mental and physical decline during his captivity. Hepburn died inside the castle in 1578 at the age of 44, and his body was buried nearby. Over the centuries, staff and visitors have reported sightings of a restless figure moving through the castle's corridors or across the grounds. Some stories even claim he appears riding through the courtyard in a phantom carriage. Not every ghost story connected to Dragsholm Castle is tied to powerful nobles or political prisoners. One of the more unsettling legends involves a young servant known in castle lore as the Curious Page of Room 24. According to this story, the page was a young attendant working in the castle during a period when it served as a residence and administrative center for Danish nobility. One day, he allegedly witnessed, or tried to witness, something he was not supposed to see. The exact details vary depending on the version of the story. Some accounts say he was caught spying through a keyhole in a private chamber. Others suggest he had seen something politically or socially compromising involving members of the household. Whatever the case, the boy was reportedly caught and severely punished. Castle legend says his eye was burned out as punishment for spying, and that he was later tortured and killed. The story does not appear in official historical records, but it has persisted in Dragsholm's folklore for generations. Today, the legend is associated with Room 24 of the castle. Visitors staying in that part of the building have claimed to feel as though they were being watched by an unseen eye, particularly late at night. Others have described an uneasy sensation focused around the eye, while others report hearing faint movement when nobody else is present. According to the story, the page still lingers in the room where his curiosity supposedly cost him his life. Another long-standing ghost story associated with Dragsholm Castle is the Grey Lady, a spirit often described as far less hostile than some of the other ghosts that haunt the castle. That is, unless you piss her off. Don't piss her off. According to tradition, she was a maid who worked at the castle sometime during the 1600s when the building served as a residence for Danish nobility. The story says the maid was caught stealing silverware from the household. Theft from a noble estate was a serious offense and could have resulted in severe punishment. However, the lady of the castle reportedly chose to forgive the maid rather than have her punished. The servant was allowed to remain at the castle and continued working there. In fact, it's said that she even worked her way up the ladder, where she was in charge of all of the other maids. Despite this forgiveness, legend says the maid never truly left the castle even after her death. Staff and visitors have described encountering a calm but watchful female presence believed to be the Grey Lady. Unlike many castle ghosts, she is often described as relatively protective of the building and its staff. According to the story, the Grey Lady dislikes it when the interior of the castle is changed. Employees have claimed that when furniture or decorations are moved, she becomes enraged. Objects may fall or be knocked from their place. One story, often repeated by guides, says that when a picture was moved from its original location, it repeatedly fell from the wall until it was fastened in place with a strong screw. That seems to solve that particular haunting, but she still makes her presence known when she finds other things out of place. The most famous ghost story connected to Dragsholm Castle is also the darkest and most unsettling. It's the legend of the White Lady. According to castle tradition, the story dates back to around the mid-1500s. The young woman was said to be the daughter of a nobleman who lived at the castle. Like many noble families of the time, her father had arranged her marriage when she was still a child, promising her to a man of equal social standing. As she grew older, however, the young woman reportedly fell in love with another man, one who came from a much lower social class. The relationship was forbidden, but the two continued seeing each other in secret. According to the legend, the woman eventually became pregnant. Realizing the scandal that would follow if the relationship were discovered, she fled the castle with her lover. The story goes, her father eventually found her and brought her back to the castle. She arrived shackled in a white dress. Enraged by the dishonor brought upon the family, he allegedly ordered that she be stuffed in a narrow hole in the castle wall and brick by brick sealed in as she screamed and pleaded to no avail. Castle lore claims that her scratches and muffled screams could be heard from behind the stone until they eventually faded into silence. Centuries later, during renovation work at the castle, workers reportedly discovered the skeleton of a woman hidden within the wall of the building. The remains were said to be dressed in white. Since her murder, there have been consistent reports of her ghost being spotted roaming the halls of the castle. It's said that her spirit is accompanied by an overwhelming sense of sadness, and people believe her soul is endlessly searching for the soulmate she was so unjustly taken from. Her ghost is said to mostly wander around, indifferent to her surroundings, but with one exception. She seems to have an interest in sleeping men, and if she believes he lacks virtue, then she curses him. Numerous men who have reported being visited by her ghost have suffered serious accidents in the following days. For centuries, Dragsholm Castle has served as a prison for men who have fallen out of favor with the crown. Bishops stripped of power, nobles caught up in political conflicts, and prisoners who spent years confined within its walls. Over time, the castle developed a reputation that went far beyond the stories of a few restless spirits. Local tradition claims that Dragsholm is haunted by as many as 100 ghosts, many of them believed to be former prisoners whose lives ended within the fortress walls. Regardless of the exact number of unknown ghosts, what we do know about Dragsholm Castle and its dark history is that it's for good reason that it's considered to be Denmark's most haunted.
What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome into Hometown Ghost Stories, episode number 195. I believe it is our first ever episode in Denmark. I'm Jesse Wilkins, joined by Rob Coakley. Hello, Rob.
And it is a doozy to kick Denmark off with. I'm excited because Dave just told us about 6 ghosts. He has 94 more to tell us about, so I can't wait.
Absolutely. We're also joined by Dave Wilkins. Hello, Dave.
Hello, and we are going to go right down that list and talk about each and every single one of them. Like that 99 bottles of beer song.
I was thinking the same thing as I was saying it.
Right. But it would be 100 bottles of Ghost.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll go over all of them. You know, like I tried looking into it because I was like, oh, they're claiming there's 100 ghosts. And I usually hate when locations land on a number because how do you know there's not more? How do you know there's not less? How do you know you're not experiencing the same ghost and counting it twice? You know, all of those reasons. But I'm yet to find a list of all 100 ghosts on this location. I've looked around. I found several, but most of them cap at around 5. And then they're like, and there's 95 others.
Yeah.
Yep. So I don't know. What's going on, everybody hanging out in live chat. We got plenty of people, a lot of generous folks, which is great. Kicked it off. Tess threw in $20 in super chat. Says for Scotland, you're going there, right? Yes, we'll be there tomorrow. Heading out around this time tomorrow, actually. Whisper threw in 20 gifted memberships in super chat. 10 from Janine R. Thank you so much. Papa Squatch threw in 50 gifted memberships. And happy resub day to Hannah and Mama Sabo. Nailed it. That was great. Kicking it off hot. But yeah,
we're the name of this castle.
Yeah, this castle, when you look at the spelling of it, it says Dragsholm, but that is apparently not how it is pronounced. Dave, how is it pronounced?
Dragsholm.
Dragsholm.
which is so I looked it up because I wanted to get it right. So the weird thing about the Danish language is they use the same alphabet as us, but the letters don't make the same sounds. They don't. It is crazy the way they pronounce things, and even my pronunciation of it is like an Americanized version. I was listening to a Danish woman say it, and it was like, I don't know how her mouth was making the sounds that it was making, because I was like, I don't know how to make those sounds. The closest I could get is Dragsholm.
Yeah.
And
It probably just sounded like she was dragging her mouth on the beach while she said it.
yeah, exactly. But
Incognito throws some sort of foreign currency in super chat. 1.19 of I don't know.
is that euro?
It's euro.
I don't think so, is it? I thought the euro symbol was different, but could be. But thank you so much for the donation. We appreciate that. And yeah, so we're heading out that way. You know, what's funny is that like the Danish language, very, very difficult to pronounce these words, especially if you're familiar with the English language and the English alphabet. The same thing with Welsh. I was like, you know what, we're going to spend a couple of days in Wales. Let me try to impress the Welsh locals.
You're not going to impress
There will be no impressing on my end. I learned a few things, and I was like, I gotta give this up. I can't even begin.
They just leave vowels out of stuff. Like there's a town we want to go to, Conway. There's no A in it. It's just CONWY. And then they take those vowels that they left out of some towns and they throw 300 in another town's name. So yeah, we're not going to be pronouncing anything correctly in that.
Yeah, not going to happen. Not going to happen. I was like, all right, let me at least learn how to say hello, goodbye. I learned hello. It's shumai. And everything else was way too complicated. I was like, all right.
They speak English in Wales.
They speak a lot of English. Yeah. So it seems almost like Ireland with Gaelic, where it's like, you know, people can speak it, but they just speak English for the most part. Maybe at least to the parts of Ireland that we went to, everyone just spoke English. So I'm sure maybe some people could. And I have experience that when you at least give it a shot, people seem to appreciate it, or at least they're like, oh, good job, idiot. You know, you're not doing good, but at least you're trying. But I don't know. So it's off the table, though. We're just going to speak English. That's what we're going to do.
We're going to get the best evidence ever when we're in Wales, and we're going to have no idea what it is.
I know.
Oh, it's in Welsh, yeah. If they don't say hello to me, I'm going to have no idea what they're saying. That's all I got.
If they do say hello to you, you might still have no idea what they're saying.
That's true.
Yeah, so we'll hop into it in a minute, but keep an eye on the socials. Like I said, all next week we will be bouncing around Great Britain. We're going to start off in Scotland, head down to England, finish off in Wales. So we'll be attempting to go live wherever we have service, if our phones will work that way. And, you know, we'll be posting a whole bunch of content for folks. So make sure you keep an eye on it and stay up to date with the trip. And without further ado, let's hop into some of these. We have 100 ghosts to talk about today.
We do, but let's also let everyone know that we will still have an episode next Tuesday. So you still will have your normal Tuesday 9 p.m. Episode on YouTube as well. And this week, the Bloody Disgusting podcast is dropping an episode with us as well. So if you want more of us, that's where you can get it.
That's right.
100%. Yeah, Whisper just threw a bunch of the links on there. So we will be live on TikTok. Instagram has been going really well, so we'll definitely be going live on Instagram. And if you missed it, last week we were on Talk is Jericho. So if you want to hear more about the Lizzie Borden house and the Lizzie Borden hauntings, check that out. Talk is Jericho. It's on his YouTube. It was actually, we filmed it in person at the Lizzie Borden house. So if you want to check that out, it's been going over quite well. Some say it's controversial. A lot of debates going on in the chats about who committed what and who's guilty. And everyone seems to be really sure about their answers.
So sure. The most sure.
Yeah.
And we have just been staying out of it and letting people debate amongst themselves because it's been entertaining to watch. So make sure you go throw your opinion in there. But yes, Dave, tell us about the castle whose name I shall not name.
How will I know which? Dragsholm. Yeah, well, however they say it. I'm sure I'm still not as close as I want to be. And I know we have a
Dragonham.
It could be. I know we have a patron who's Danish and is Meta A, because she used to challenge us on how to pronounce her last name. So maybe she'll maybe she'll message us and tell me how poorly I did with all these pronunciations. But without further ado, here are some more terrible pronunciations of Danish names. So the castle was built, I mentioned in the opening story, by a guy named Peter Sunesen, which is no way that's how that's pronounced, but I don't know how else you would. And he was like the main builder, but he also had other architects under him. And one of them allegedly still haunts this castle, which I didn't bring up in the opening ghost story because I couldn't verify the existence of this person, but the ghost stories are pretty interesting about it. So his name was Bird the Builder, pronounced Björr the Builder.
Blah, blah, the builder.
Björr.
Doesn't work as well for the kids show.
No.
He's just building medieval torture devices. Let's get friendly.
Yeah, but he was a scary looking dude, apparently. He was a monk, and he used to wear the big monk's cowl over his head, and he had one eye made out of stone. And
yeah, this definitely doesn't work for that show.
yeah, no. Yeah, imagine that.
I'm here to build you a playground. You're Scottish in that version.
Where do you want the Iron Maiden? But he had one eye that was made of stone, and they believe this is why a lot of the walls and angles in this castle are crooked because of the architect.
Poor depth perception.
Yeah, he couldn't triangulate with his stone eye. So they have like specifically the east wing.
I built a wall out of more eyes.
This guy sounds like an Elden Ring boss.
He could be.
Like a monk with a stone eye.
He specifically the east wing and the south wing, the angles are not 90-degree angles. So
they're actually also just the east wing and west wing. He thought it was got real turned around.
I don't know where I am. Who spun me around? So he is allegedly one of the ghosts that haunt this place, and his ghost specifically came up in
His ghost specifically walks in circles.
Was spotted during World War II when the Germans occupied the castle. They took over this castle and immediately just started seeing this ghost everywhere. And all of them had accounts of the same ghost with the stone eye and the big monk's cowl. And he would appear and he would just freak out the Germans. So that was the
good.
Yeah, that was the record of Björr the Builder. And there is no historical record of him existing. What I do think is someone was probably trying to explain the weird angles, so they just came up with this idea of a one-eyed monk being a builder. And if it matched up with the ghost, right? People seeing the ghost, so they said he must have been one of the builders. He must be the reason that this building is so askew. But I don't know, maybe he was a real builder.
Well, what I'll say is those that don't believe in him, let them be the first ones to cast the first stone.
That's right.
Somebody did. Landed right in his eye socket.
That's right.
Why a stone? Like, of all the things to put in your missing eye, who was like, throw this rock in there?
I know.
It was either that or wood. I mean, I think the resources were pretty limited.
Well, you definitely don't want to throw wood in there. That sounds...
A chicken egg. It's white. It's almost the right shape.
Mm-hmm. Hard boil it to be safe.
A robin's egg.
Yeah, just in case you have an emergency meal. If you get lost walking in circles.
Yeah, good idea.
Survivalist Jesse has weighed in.
Thank you. Thank you for that. So he's one of the ghosts. Another ghost that I did mention was the Mad Squire, and he was a crazy guy, right?
Some say he's mad.
It sucks to throw a guy in prison, and he was one of those political prisoners. So there was a lot of, I mentioned it, political prisoners, a lot of ecclesiastical prisoners, which are basically like religious political prisoners, and which means that you had probably a mixture of some of the most corrupt prisoners in the country, also probably an equal amount of people who were completely innocent. would be my speculation there.
Yeah, I don't think he was one of them though. This guy, so he was like a confidant to the king, to where it's like you're like, oh, that's his buddy. I can't believe he would get executed. Then you find out that he probably impregnated his sister, and you're like, maybe not a great guy worth saving.
Right. So maybe not, but either way, like you call him the mad squire because you threw him in prison and he went insane because of the way he was treated in prison, and then you called him the mad prisoner. It's like, okay, well, yeah, he was mad, but you did it. But his haunting is pretty.
He wasn't exactly behaving nicely before.
Yeah,
though, if the legends are true.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, he abused his. It's a thought that he abused his servants as well, and not only impregnated his sister against her will, but also allegedly murdered her from one account.
Against her will as well. Yeah.
Yeah. So might have been mad before he was locked up, Dave.
Yeah, he was also assaulting his servants. I mean, like there was a whole list of crimes that he was accused of. However, he could have done none of them, and the king just might not have liked him because these things happened as well.
That was my implication. But
did you come across a story about him faking his death before this? So apparently, in church one time, he had invited everyone, like he had his funeral service, and everyone came to his funeral thinking he was dead. And in the middle of it, he jumped out of his coffin just to scare everybody.
That's awesome.
So
pardoned.
Maybe he was mad. Maybe he was mad.
I mean, it could just be part of the legend too, right? Like, but that's one
it could be.
I read.
That's pretty good though. That's a good prank. That might be the best prank.
It'd be even better if he wasn't even a ghost haunting this place and he was just still alive, just still pretending to be dead.
Just still
doing great.
Yep. But his haunting's pretty creepy, and he is responsible for, people will claim to hear, disembodied mumbling and rambling of a stark raving madman, which that sounds extra scary. People, we hear about disembodied voices all the time, but the mumbling and rambling of a madman sounds extra spooky.
It's pretty terrifying to hear that, because back in the job that I used to do, when I used to have to go to people's houses or to facilities, I had to go to a dementia floor one time, and there was this guy who was very advanced in his dementia, and he was just in his bed rambling and just saying the things that a madman would say, just sitting there screaming them. And I was like, why am I here? Why is nobody accompanying me to make sure that I'm okay in this place? They just all grabbed me before I went on the elevator and were like, don't let anybody come back down with you. I'm like, why aren't you coming up with me?
What does that mean?
Hang on. Did all the patients grab you?
No. The people that run the facility.
I was going to say, it's something out of a horror movie. They all come out of the rooms and just grab you like, don't go out without us.
Yeah, no, I was like, why is one of the people that work here not coming up here with me to make sure that this goes? Have an orderly or something.
And you know me, I'm too nice. I would have been like, all right, let's go. Come on, guys. Everyone in the elevator.
Yikes.
Probably.
Yeah, that sounds frightening. That definitely sounds frightening. So that's the Mad Squire. And, we're not going to rehash all of these ghosts here, because I know that there are some others that we wanted to talk about, but we kind of have to talk about the Earl of Bothwell, because he's probably, besides the White Lady, the most famous ghost that haunts this castle.
Was this James Hepburn?
Yes.
That sounds like an ointment you would get for an STD. Hepburn, on sale now.
That's right. But that's not what he was. He was an earl.
He was not an ointment.
He was not. Indeed, he was. And just to recap his story a little bit, he was engaged.
New T-shirt logo right there. Boom. Not an ointment.
Write it down.
I'm sure it'll sound great.
So he was engaged to Anna Trrom, who was a Norwegian woman, and he accepted a dowry, which, that's like the promise. That's like, it takes the engagement one step. If you ask someone to marry them and they say yes, you're engaged, but there's no legally binding contract. A dowry kind of is. It's like not a written contract, but it's like you took the money and you gave the oath that you are going to marry this person. So it is extremely frowned upon if you then go to a different country and marry the queen of that country, which is what this man did. Also, he was possibly married to 2 other women as well. So I saw
just racking up dowries.
he was just I know, right? But he was a very corrupt guy. So he fled. So after he married the Queen of the Scots, Mary, after probably murdering her husband, which she was probably in on, right? Because it all kind of seems a little bit too fishy. And then people were suspicious, and they're like, well, he died and then you married her pretty quickly, and that seems odd. We should investigate you. And he's like, no, I'm out. And he jumped on a boat, leaves Scotland, and goes back to Norway, which was probably not a great idea because his wife, or his fiance, Anna Trrom, was kind of like a big deal. Her father was a big deal over there in Norway. So as soon as he came back, they were like, oh, no. You owe us big time. So they took him to what was basically like what now would be civil court. And that's when they found out that he was implicated in this murder of the husband of the Queen of the Scots. And they threw him in prison. And Mary, the Queen of the Scots, was no longer the Queen of the Scots. She was basically like a queen regent at the time. And they demoted her for this scandal. And they threw the Earl of Bothwell into Dragsholm prison. And
into the dungeons. He also went mad. Everyone's going mad over here.
Yeah, but they treated him really bad, which is unusual for a noble. Typically, when a noble was thrown in a prison like this, they would treat him well because
they'd be up in the tower, and it's basically like a hotel room that they're gonna still pamper you and basically keep you there.
Right, and that is because but
you can't leave.
It sucks a lot less than what he
got.
No,
of course.
So what they did was they chained him to a pillar, and the pillar's still in the castle. You can go see it. And the chain, what they did was the chain was too short for him to be able to stand up straight or sit down comfortably. So he was basically just like hunched over at all times and couldn't really sit down. So what he would do was he would just pace. And when you're chained to something, you just go in a circle, right, around that pillar. And for 10 years, he just circled this pillar because that was all he could do.
It was just him circling the pillar and the guy with the rock eye also circling in the same room, but the other guy just couldn't get out.
Help me find the door. But so he circled this pillar for 10 years, and you can actually go see the pillar now, and you can see there's a circle around it where he just wore down the stones in the floor from just pacing over and over and over again. He lost his mind. And the other thing they would do to him is that when they would bring him his food and water, they would put it just out of reach so that he couldn't reach it. He'd have to, contort himself to be able to get the food closer to him. And when he did, it was all filled with maggots and mold and stuff like that. So not good, especially in a situation where they used to treat the nobles well in prison. And the reason they would do that was because the prisoners would have some sort of worth. So they would hang on to them until they could be exchanged for whatever. The problem with the Earl of Bothwell was he had basically zero worth because King Frederick came to realize that the odds of Mary ever becoming queen again were about zero, dead in the water. And without her, he just had no worth.
What if he tried to bargain? He's like, listen, I got 7 dowries racked up in a closet.
I know.
Full of goods. And I wonder how many years it was before you realized that the Mad Squire wasn't even a prisoner. He was just stuck.
Yeah.
Oh, this isn't the Mad Squire. This is a different guy.
I know. I was talking. It was another joke about the guy with the rock eye. We'll move on from that. I won't make that joke again. I'm sorry.
The guy with the rock eye wasn't the Mad Squire either.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
That's all right.
That was the architect.
We'll edit it out.
Yeah, for sure. So, oddly enough, in 1858, so hundreds of years after the Earl of Bothwell died, they got curious and were like, you know what we should do? Let's dig him up. So they dug him up. And what they found was a male skeleton of large stature. Bothwell was known to be tall. So was actually the Queen of Scots. Mary was like over 6 feet tall. There's a big couple. But the bones so they believed they knew where he was buried. And the bones were consistent with somebody who had lived in the 16th century. There were signs of severe physical deterioration and signs of the physical restraints. So they do believe that the skeleton was his, and they reburied it. So they just I guess the idea was we'll dig him up, make sure he's really him, and then bury him again. So they did that. I don't know why.
It's at a church nearby too, I think,
Mhm.
nearby the castle, so you can still go visit the site, I believe, of where he is laid to rest. His haunting's weird, though. I feel like his haunting's weird because when they bring up his haunting, and he may be haunting that area that he was in, I would assume he's haunting that area that he was in, but it's always they talk about the carriage, the horse carriage, and they believe it could be two different things. It could be him on the day that he got to the castle coming by carriage, and others believe that it could also be the carriage leaving with his body from after he died. So seems to be, it's just like that. It kind of took me off guard the first time I read it because I was like, oh, it's going to be sounds and chain noises and everything coming from down there. And there may be some of that, but they really seem to focus on the carriage more so than anything.
Mm. Yeah, I thought that was odd too, because it's just not what you'd expect. And again, it's like, are we saying that the haunting is a full body apparition of him and a carriage and a horse, and the full body apparition is so clear that you can distinguish his facial features, right? I mean,
yeah.
How else would you attribute? Because that's, I don't know.
Yeah, because how many carriages went to this place?
Yeah. Right.
So that's
probably a lot.
Probably so many on a daily basis.
That, and for a place that's claiming to have 95 other ghosts, how do we know that's not one of the other ghosts?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But I don't know. But that's the Earl of Bothwell. And he was one of the main ghosts. The lady in white was the other main one. And she was a disturbing story.
The most disturbing story, I would say. As disturbing as that story we just told was, this one is next level.
Yeah. Next level, if true. So the ghost of the white lady was allegedly tied to a young woman by the name of Celestine, and she was the daughter of a lord of the castle, and the lord of the castle is not named. Also, there's no real historical records of anybody by her name ever being officially at that castle.
They've linked it to a few different people, but they also say it could just be a nobleman's daughter. So you have Celestine, Marianne, and forgive me for the completely English versions of these. Could also be Selina Bolves. Actually, that wasn't just Celestine Marianne. It was Celestine Marianne de Bayonne Glidestirne. Sometimes linked to
very Spanish.
Marguerite died. She did. She died.
Yeah.
So that's my input. Carry on.
Yeah. So she basically was a child bride. Well, she wasn't actually a child bride, but an arranged marriage, right? So when she's of age, she's supposed to be married off to this guy. Not quite as bad as a child bride, but still not a good system. And she basically didn't want to do that. So she rebelled and she fled and ran away from home, and the father had her brought back. And it was a big deal to go against your father and his wishes for an arranged marriage, to the point where he would basically be ostracized and shunned in the community. And it would basically, his image would be defiled. So it's like back then, if you broke that tradition, it would be a major problem. So he was enraged, and he was to the point where he dragged her back to the castle, stuffed her in a hole in the wall, and told the masons to brick her in. And he must have been such a powerful person that the masons weren't like, dude, no, which is what I would have done, in theory.
Just another day on the job.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if you say no, you're probably in there next to her at that point, or the next wall over.
Yeah.
So, I mean, but I don't care how enraged you, like, what would it take for you, Dave, to mason your daughter into the wall. Like,
Speaking of which, you got to let her out.
Oh, that's right.
True. That's actually what we're doing with your kids while we're gone.
Yeah, what else am I supposed to do with her when we go to Europe? No, I would never. Obviously, it's like, right. Of course. I don't know that there's anything you could do to make me that angry at any other human. That's just nuts. So I find it far-fetched and hard to believe for that reason, even though, the 16th century was different times and people behaved much differently. I just don't feel like, and people say like, oh yeah, it was harsher, fathers and their daughters back then. It wasn't the same. If you had a son, that was good. If you had a daughter, you hated her. I don't buy it. We're humans, and I don't think human nature has evolved that much since the 16th century. So I just, I find that it's hard to believe. Now, one of the other reasons that I find the story hard to believe is not just because of the sheer brutality of it, but they did actually discover remains in 1910. Now, this should be like proof, like, oh, they found her remains. It's the skeleton in a white dress bricked into the walls. They found it. That confirms the story really happened. And it does confirm that somebody really was bricked into the walls. But there is no record of this story existing prior to 1910. So what likely happened was they found a skeleton in a wall and then retconned the story.
Built the story around. But it happened to somebody.
I can see it, but it's like, does the reasoning really matter that much anymore? Because you now have a skeleton in a wall. Someone got bricked up in the wall. It likely wasn't a reasonable situation.
Most likely not.
It's an old castle where they're torturing people, and so maybe it was just another form of torture for a political prisoner or whatever.
Maybe,
but it doesn't change the fate of that person, so
maybe. So
I agree with you though. Like I'm more with you than not with you, they probably just backfilled the story and created this legend around it. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, so they definitely found a body in the wall. I agree that there probably isn't a less ridiculous. Actually, I think every possible reason would be less ridiculous than the actual backstory.
I think torture probably fits it pretty well.
I think
they were already torturing people.
Right. So that would be a pretty horrific form of torture. There are reasons that you could imagine, right? Somebody's concealing a murder, right? There was a murder. A person died in a violent accident or something, and hiding the body in the wall could prevent questions, especially if it happened during construction. The other possibility is the death occurred during the construction of the castle and they just threw the remains in there. They say it was
this is the best one, is from Mothman Maniac, says maybe Stone Eye accidentally bricked her up, measurements were off. Spot on. I think we figured it out.
That is good. Yes. So it could have been, somebody trying to conceal a murder. It could be accidental death during construction. They said that the remains had the white dress, but who knows if that was an actual dress or if it was just like a cloak or some sort, or like a tunic or something that could have been worn by one of the workers. The other thing, this is the most interesting. I don't think it's the most likely, but there's this ancient tradition. It's kind of folklore, but it's European folklore called a foundation sacrifice. And what it was builders believed that a building would be stronger if there was a living being sealed inside the walls during construction. So there's no record of anyone doing this in Denmark at any point, but it was a European tradition where sometimes it would be an animal. They would seal the animal into the walls alive, or sometimes it would be a human. So it could be something like that.
God, thank God I'm not like rectangular. I'd be so nervous around those people. Like, hey, listen, I don't look like a foundation piece. Don't use me.
I'm not structural.
Stop standing so straight. You're going to give up your... Sorry. They're going to pick you.
Yeah. We also saw this at other castles too, right? Like this isn't the first body like buried in the walls of a castle that we've come across. So it is something that I'm not going to say was a standard, but not completely unheard of either. So it did happen.
Yeah, and it's hard to be able to figure out where the skeleton came from or why it's inside the wall, but you got to figure during the construction of castles, especially before OSHA, there were probably a lot of work site accidents, and I'm sure they just kicked the body into the wall. So
yeah. Sorry if I missed the point. Pops had brought up female skeletons are different than male skeletons, which is true. Did they determine the sex of the skeleton?
I don't.
Or
So
were
it
they
was
able to?
it was discovered in 1910, so they definitely wouldn't have had the. Well, they might have had the technology. I mean, it's if you can
It depends on which
understand.
bones they found, but
Yeah,
for the most
skull.
part, from the skull and the hips and stuff like that, they could tell which gender it was.
Yeah, so they might have been able
Pelvic
to.
bones did.
They might have been able to tell back in 1910, but I don't know for sure.
But none of the reports confirm if it was a male or female skeleton.
They call it a female skeleton, so that's what
okay,
that's
so
what they say. So I assume they probably did. So probably not a builder, but it could have been an accidental death. It could have been a murder. The legend could be real, although I doubt it.
I mean, the clothing too, right? Like, I mean, the clothing's probably a dead giveaway before you even look at the bones of what they're wearing.
Maybe depends on what they were buried in. I mean, a lot of the nightgowns, they like what the males and females were wearing to bed looked relatively the same. Get those long nightgowns. So,
Yes.
but perhaps if it's a dress or something like that, but you never know.
Yeah, but either way, her ghost is interesting also because she kind of curses people in a way, and she's mostly known to roam the halls. People will see her. She's accompanied by an overwhelming sense of melancholy and sadness, which makes sense if the backstory is true. And also, she takes interest in sleeping men, which is also kind of weird, I thought. But she judges the man, and if she believes that he's not a virtuous man, she'll curse him. And then men who have claimed to have woken up and seen her have had horrible accidents in the following days. So I don't have a single example of one of these horrible accidents that happened, but that's the legend of the haunting.
Yeah, I've heard that one as well.
And it's a tough one. So her backstory I thought was really, really intriguing, just because of the sheer brutality of it, like I mentioned. And that's where I kind of framed the opening ghost story around that. And if that's really true, that's why I wrote it sort of as the father being, a person who believed he was virtuous, but it deep down knew that he was not. And that was kind of like the metaphor of him being bricked inside of his own mind. So that was kind of where I come up with that. But yeah, this was a brutal, brutal story. And that's just a couple of the 100 ghosts that haunt this castle.
Do you want to hear about the headless nobleman?
I do want to hear about the headless nobleman.
This one's just kind of like one of those fringe hauntings where it's just there's not much to it. They don't even have an idea of who it could be. It's just there's basically a former nobleman headless wandering the castle grounds. No name has been definitively attached to the figure. It remains one of the more mysterious apparitions. But the headless ghost is thought to be connected to the castle's long prison era, where execution and severe punishment were common fates for fallen nobles. So we don't know who it is, but there's a headless ghost just wandering around.
That's scary.
Yeah.
I believe this building is now operating as a hotel where they have multiple rooms available to rent, by the way, and a Michelin star restaurant as well.
Yeah. Michelin star restaurants are few and far between, so that's pretty cool that there's one in basically prison castle.
Yeah.
Ghost
Depends on where you are. I was like,
too.
yeah, I had looked into it one day because I was on a kick of watching Gordon Ramsay shows and stuff like that. I'm like, you know what? I would love to go to a Michelin star restaurant, like just once. And spend the $300, $400, $500, whatever it's going to cost just to go through that ordeal. And I was like, I wonder where the closest one is. And I looked up, there was like 6 in my area. I was like, oh, okay. But I was in for clarification, I was in Boston at the time because that's somehow I don't have one of those at our restaurant, but I don't know. I guess they don't come out to pizza shops very often. I guess. Surprise! Have they even tried the chicken fingers? Come on.
Just one more thing I'll mention. This doesn't really attach a name to anything, but somewhere between like 1658 and 1660, the Swedish King Charles X tried to blow up the castle, and while it wasn't entirely destroyed, it like was pretty badly damaged for years and years and years. So they think that some of these 100 ghosts might have been killed in that explosion.
Yeah, that sounds like the 100 number, I doubt, comes from 100 sightings of individual ghosts that they've
Right.
connected to actual people who existed in history. More likely, a large amount of them are, from a big accident like that. If 50 people were killed in the explosion, they say, and the 50 people probably haunt here.
Right.
Something like that. The other way you can get to that number is if psychic mediums visiting sometimes like to put exact numbers on things, which I just think is ridiculous. But I don't know. I'm not a medium, but it could be that also. I don't know. You mentioned before we went live that the ghost of Anna Trons allegedly haunts this place too, which I think is pretty.
Yeah, it's very like, they're like, maybe it's her that haunts a little bit because she's part of the reason for
Earl of Bothwell being there.
Earl of Bothwell being there. So they have tied her spirit because maybe she felt bad about being part of the reason that he had a 10-year run. That was probably the worst 10-year run of anybody in the history of history. So
yeah, no, it's possible because she, I don't think she ever went to the castle herself, but it could be an energy that was attached to his spirit just because she was pissed off. She was a woman where hell hath no known fury.
That's how they say it. That's how they say it in Denmark.
That's how you say it with confidence. My favorite haunting here. Have you guys talked about the Grey Lady, also known as the Grateful Maid?
I talked about her in the opening video.
Oh, let me make sure it's the same one because they do double up on a lot of these. But my favorite thing about the description that I found here is how many different possible ways that she died, and they have no idea.
Oh, I didn't know that.
They have a lot of concrete ideas on how she might have died. One was toothache. Now, she didn't die from the toothache, but she went and saw the doctor or the maester came and visited her or whatever, and gave her some medication, and she recovered but died. So that's
didn't recover.
Yeah. She recovered, but then she was dead. So I don't know. Not a great recovery. I feel like that was written by the doctor. She recovered, but then died.
She stopped complaining about the ache. So
yeah,
job well done.
So this one, very, very similar. The other option is she died during a Swedish attack where she witnessed her family get murdered and then she died in a fire. So almost the same story.
Mm-hmm.
It's one or the other. Can't be anything in between.
Did the Swedish attack people? They just seem like people who wouldn't attack much.
Yeah, come bring you chocolate or something.
Yeah.
Or they come administer aid with the Red Cross.
That was Switzerland, right?
Same thing. I'll take that to my grave. Same thing. It's funny. We had a couple of Swedish people at the Easter celebrations last year, and I'm like, "Oh yeah, I've been to your airport." They named the airport. I'm like, "No, that's not it." I'm like, "I've been to this one." They're like, "That's a different country." I'm like, "No, it's not."
Switzerland and Sweden.
And she points it out on the map. I'm like, it's the same thing. Completely different sizes. Not even all that close to each other. I'm like, it's the same thing. And she's like, "You're really gonna try to convince me that's the same?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's the same thing."
I get shit for geography. You know what? Pennsylvania and Tennessee are a lot closer than Switzerland and Sweden, which might not be true.
Sweden, it's the same place.
I was gonna say you might not want to fact check that one day.
Anyways, back to the Grey Lady who was attacked by Sweden. Her ghost now roams the property at night. She apparently is helpful, and she reminds the staff to take care of the castle. And I guess she's one of the more frequently sighted ghosts. So
yeah, she still orders around the staff post-mortem, but she also gets mad when people rearrange the furniture and stuff, and she throws pictures.
Oh, that was the same one? Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
Very cool. This was a great location, Dave.
Yeah, it was fun. We're going to be so close to it too. I wish our schedule's pretty full, but
the good thing is we can get Sweden and Switzerland done in one visit.
Yep, one airport
Same
stop.
place. Yep, one airport stop. That's it.
One thing
Most expensive. Sorry, most expensive orange juice I've ever purchased in my life. One small cup of orange juice that didn't even fill up all the way, 18 euros or whatever currency it was over there. I was like, but I really wanted the orange juice, so I bought it anyways.
Had to have it.
Shouldn't have. Yep.
One thing I do want to bring up is we on this trip to Europe, people are asking like they want to like grab a drink with us or whatever. There are 2 nights that we might be able to do that. The first is Saturday night. We are going to be in Leeds doing sort of a pub crawl situation. So if you're around the Leeds area and you want to grab a drink with us on Saturday night, tag one of us on Discord and we can let you know where we're going to be around. I don't have the list in front of me right now. And the other night, I believe, is Sunday night. Sunday night, we should be at the Scarred Inn, not investigating, but we're going to have a drink there. So,
okay. Well, if you can't get a hold of us on Discord, here is Rob's phone number scrolling across the bottom of the screen. No, just kidding. It's not there.
Dude, I just looked it up. You want to know the difference in miles between Switzerland and Sweden versus Pennsylvania
There's no way.
to Tennessee? So from Switzerland to Sweden is about 1,399 miles, give or take, depending on where you start and finish from. And from Pennsylvania to Tennessee is 1,316 miles.
yeah.
Whoa.
Almost exactly the same.
It's almost like they're the same place. You're with me.
Damn it. I'm just going to stop doing geography. That's what I'm going to do.
I would have also thought it was thousands of miles difference. So. Yeah.
Whoops.
Yeah. You guys want to get into some 5-star reviews?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. This first one is from Apple, titled Another Review. I love the HTGS podcast. The guys put in a tremendous amount of work into the show. The research, history, music, spookiness, and banter makes for a most excellent podcast. The chat community on Tuesday night and the Discord community enhance the podcast and fun. This podcast gets better and better, approaching 200 episodes. And that was from JP. So thank you,
Awesome.
JP, for updating your 5-star review, which you can also do. You can update your 5-star review over on Apple. And Spotify, who's just been absolutely killing it. This is from last week's episode. Fighting Nomad said 5 stars. Love the podcast. I've been catching up on episodes while at work. These guys have great intro videos, and I love the banter. If you guys haven't looked into it yet, you should check out the Arkansas Tuberculosis Sanatorium in Boonville, Arkansas.
Cool.
Kat wrote, loved the Hannibal episode. Stayed there, and she stayed at this Airbnb that she named. And while in the shower, heard plain as day a woman laughing, even though there were no other guests in the house. I was legit OMG scared. And
Yikes.
David Witt wrote another banger episode. And thanks to everyone that left a 5-star review on that Jericho episode on his podcast that we mentioned earlier. You guys have been killing it. Thanks everybody. And you can kill it too. You can leave us a 5-star review on Apple. You can leave it on Spotify, or you can join us over on Patreon, where if you join us on Patreon, you can get your name read out at the end of the episode, much like Jesse is going to do here now.
I am. Real quick, if people don't mind, I started posting some more shorts on my personal page. Yeah, there it is. From our investigation, some stuff that I kind of left off the main page because they're a little too goofy, but I'm just a goofy guy. So some of the funnier moments, you can subscribe to my personal YouTube channel. It's the one that I'm commenting on, and Nightbot is talking about it there, but it's just at Jesse C. Wilkins, I believe, on YouTube. So drop me a sub there. Check out some of the shorts there. I'll be dropping more like behind the scenes stuff and more funny moments from the show. More so from the investigation episode than some unreleased stuff. So drop me a sub there on my tiny little channel. That'll be fun. Let's thank our patrons real quick, starting with the VIPs. We have Lori H. Wyatt F. This episode approved by Harry Cockburn. A lot of folks won't understand that, but that is, what was that from? Side
Paranormal Update. Yeah.
Oh, that's out for everybody now. So $13.99 in super chat from Colleen D. Bon voyage, boys. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Should be a lot of fun. Continuing on with our VIPs, was Ozzy's ghost seen on a crazy train? Masshole Medic, Jennifer A. Can we all agree that the Yankees suck? Yes. KCW, Brandina 77, Kathy F. Ghost Nurse JP. Y'all ain't right. I'm Jesse Wilkins. Tess. Got outbid on Wilkins coffee tin. Hope it's one of you. Unfortunately, it was not. Kate and Steve M, Kelly C, Jennifer P, Liz Young, Chris C, LBPS founder, Inspires Gaming, Allison V, Robert H, Jean. Back to Jeannie. It's always Jeannie or Jean and neither of those.
Jeanin? Jeanin?
I just need gin. I hate gin, by the way. Pet Grizzlies are the best. Mom and Pops W. Yes, I am Papa Squatch. Lisa J at the club. They call me Cheek Splitter 9000. Okay. Next up, we have the Warrens Wards. And let's kick that off with the legendary, unbelievable Aussie H. Susan V, Blake H, Tamara A, Linda F, Johnny Cockburn in Norwich, Robin the Witch from Virginia, Crystal V, Discombobulated Voices in My Hallway, Bricked Inside My Own Mind. That's a good album name right there.
Yeah, it is.
Joe and the Dogs, Freya and the Frank are very good, very evil. Susan C, Degenerate Gambler, Voodoo Ghost who shouldn't have hit on 19, T-Cat, Whisper. Kitten Clown Dozer, Jeremy M, Beth C, Sarah B, Her Lady Spookship, Victim of Ohio, Colby always remembers Kath Q. One thing is for sure, Colby always remembers Kath Q. They're back to back. It sounds like one name. It's not. You have Colby and you have Kath Q, but Colby will never forget about Kath Q. That is for sure. We made sure of that every single week. Marfire, Anthony T just realized that in the future we'll be haunted by vape smoke smell instead of cigar smoke smell. Well, it'd be much more pleasant. Just strawberry banana and ice cream and nice things like that. Although I do love.
We'll take cigar smoke.
I love cigar smoke. I do love it. Rob has a snowman belly button. Brass breastplates beat brass ball plates. Thank you, Sydney. Stefan Guitar and Number One Podcast. Thank you so much for being part of the Warrens Awards. And finally, we will jump into the Ghost Pirate Mafia, which you can join for just $3 a month. You get early access to episodes, ad-free episodes, and all sorts of goodies. Let's kick that off with Nori H, Ronin Christmas. Get back to work. The Luna Joker 07, Lil Cat 02, Jet L, Rachel P, Jody L. The monk is eyeballing me again. Where'd that echo just come from? Chicky Ticky 67, FM Cop. Dobby is free. The stream is haunted. Did you guys just hear that echo too?
Yeah.
I didn't hear an echo. I heard your audio went nuts for a second though.
Oh,
No,
okay.
I heard it. I think it's because you
Weird.
got loud and your headphones picked it up.
Weird. Patrice R, Kemi and Steve R, Whitby's Hand of Glory TV, GS Warrior, Mothman Heard, Little Girls, Ghosts Calling People Chicken, Dave Bathes in Rob's used hot dog water. That's backwards, isn't it? GOB, D Loves Ketchup on Eggs, Just Ghostly, Witchy Kitty 416, Karen L, Michael M, Amber R, Brant C, Shane O'Mac, Kate C, Kelly C, bloop, bloop. Nice job, boys. Cowboys are the worst franchise ever. Miss Macabre, Naroku, Rachel G, Cold Warrior. How long until we get a reported sighting of the ghost of the Ayatollah? Already happened. D from H-Town, Meta A.
There she is. That's our Danish.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yes. Dave D, Wicked Alley, Dark Snark. I thwain thwop thwa thwinkin thwoop thwilly thwally thwoop thwop thwa thwada thwip thwipty thwoopathoo.
They've learned that you will read anything.
I think that's Danish for hello as well.
Arcade Hunters, Wayne C, Crystal Quinn, Halloween 3 is the best and Rob has bad taste. Thick Boy Freddy's mama was Thick Boy Freddy's baby mama was definitely yeeted out. Hope Thick Boy Freddy's mom was okay. Didn't mean to say that about her. Alicia E, Thick Boy Freddy is pretty sure homeboy just had a koala bear in the basement and a mob just called his bluff.
I don't know.
That's the guy that had the bear in the basement of the
had the grizzly
medical-
bear.
Yeah.
brown bear.
Got it.
Yep.
Okay, took me a second. Stone Eye built a Michelin star restaurant and gets awards for abstract architecture. Hey,
Nice.
That's why they got it. Sam from Nepal, Joe R. Al Capone needs a tax guy. Huggy Bear. Lugosi was better than Karloff. Fight me. Anna C. Solar Flare. Mariah M. Curly J. Cody G. Hooply Whooply. Soph and Archmaester Chvlathlan. Or something like that. Thanks for being on Patreon. Thank you for all the donations. One more time, huge shout out to Tess, Whisper, Jeannie R, Papa Squatch, Incognito, and Colleen D for throwing donations in Super Chat. Helps a lot. Helps us do cool things so you guys can watch them. And that starts again tomorrow as we travel across the ocean, hit 3 different countries in 1 week, and bring you some spooky content. That's our plan. And it should be fun.
That is the plan.
That is the plan.
Yeah. I think that'll pretty much do it. Keep an eye on the social media, and we will bring you stuff all week. It's going to be a lot of fun. But again, regular scheduled. You'll get an episode on Friday. You'll get another episode on Tuesday. Is that another 50 from Papa Squatch? Says, bring us something fun. Hell yeah. Appreciate that. That helps astronomically. Nice. Anything else, gentlemen?
No.
Whoa. Why are you so... Is that how angry you're going to be all week? Because I'm scared. If so.
No, I'll be good.
Like Rob was about to say something good.
I'm not anymore. I'm shook.
We're all scared. We're all scared. But that is the point of the show, folks. We're all scared. All right. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Peace.